The Bible says the drunkard and the glutton will come to poverty. Not might. Will. But here's what most people miss. God didn't just warn about the big sins everyone preaches about. Hidden across Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and even the words of Jesus himself are warnings about everyday habits. Things you do every single morning, every single evening, that are quietly draining your finances and blocking your breakthrough. And the worst part? Most Christians do all of them and call it normal. Let's start with the first one, and I guarantee you, this is the one nobody in church is talking about. Overeating. The Bible calls it gluttony. Proverbs 23:21 says the drunkard and the glutton will come to poverty, and drowsiness will clothe them in rags. Notice what God connects here. Not just the eating, but what comes after. The drowsiness, the sluggishness, the fog. You eat too much, your body slows down. Your body slows down, your productivity dies. Your productivity dies, your money dries up. That cycle you keep blaming on bad luck? God already told you where it starts. It starts at the table. And most of us sit there 3 times a day without thinking twice. Number 2, loving pleasure. And this one is going to hit different. Proverbs 21 verse 17 says, "Whoever loves pleasure will become poor. Whoever loves wine and olive oil will never be rich." Wine and olive oil were the luxury items of that era. Today, that's your streaming subscriptions. You're eating out 4 times a week. You're impulse buying at midnight. Notice the Bible doesn't say enjoying pleasure is the problem. It says loving it. When comfort becomes your priority, poverty becomes your destination. Solomon tried it himself. He had more money than anyone alive, chased every pleasure available, and in Ecclesiastes 2:11 he looked at all of it and said it was vanity and chasing after wind. If the richest man who ever lived tells you pleasure is a dead end, maybe stop sprinting toward it. Number 3. Idle talk and gossip. And here's one that's going to step on almost everybody's toes. Proverbs 14:23 draws the sharpest line in the entire Bible on this. All hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. Read that again. Mere talk leads to poverty. That means every hour you spend discussing other people's business, debating things that don't build anything, talking about plans you never execute, the Bible says that is a direct path to being broke. Proverbs 18:21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." You're either speaking life into your future or gossiping it into the ground. Proverbs 16:28 warns that a gossip separates close friends. Think about that. The very relationships that could open doors for you financially, gossip destroys them before they ever produce anything. Your mouth is either your greatest asset or your most expensive liability. Number 4. Complaining. And this one destroyed an entire generation. When the Israelites came out of Egypt, God was literally leading them to a land flowing with milk and honey. Everything they needed was ahead of them. But they murmured, they complained, and in Numbers 14:28 God said something terrifying. "As I live, just what you have spoken in my hearing I will do to you." Their complaints became their sentence. Every single person over the age of 20 who grumbled died in that wilderness. They never touched their promise. Now here's the question. What are you complaining about daily that God is listening to? Because Philippians 2:14 says, "Do everything without complaining and arguing." Not some things, everything. Complaining doesn't just annoy people around you. It tells God you don't trust his provision. And when trust is broken, provision gets blocked. Number 5. Laziness and oversleeping. Stay with me because this one is going to expose something most people defend. Proverbs 6:10-11 paints a picture that should terrify every believer. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a robber and want like an armed man. Notice the word little 3 times. God isn't describing someone who gave up on life. He's describing someone who just wanted 5 more minutes, that snooze button, that extra episode, that I'll start Monday mentality. And notice the Bible says poverty comes like an armed man. It doesn't knock, it kicks the door in. Proverbs 18:9 goes even further. One who is slack in his work is a brother to one who destroys. The Bible equates laziness with destruction, not weakness, not rest, destruction. If you're constantly choosing comfort over discipline, you're not being gentle with yourself. You're partnering with your own ruin. Number 6. Procrastination. This is the cousin of laziness, but it's sneakier. Proverbs 24 says sluggards do not plow in season, so at harvest time they look but find nothing. The key phrase is in season. This person didn't refuse to work. They just didn't work when it mattered. They had a reason. It was too cold. The timing wasn't right. Conditions weren't perfect. And by the time they were ready, the season had passed. Ecclesiastes 11:4 says, "Whoever watches the wind will not plant, and whoever looks at the clouds will not reap." If you're waiting for the perfect moment to start that business, apply for that job, fix your finances, God is telling you the perfect moment was the one you already let pass. Delayed obedience is still disobedience, and disobedience always has a price tag. Number 7, wastefulness. Now this one comes directly from the mouth of Jesus. In John 6:12, after he had just miraculously multiplied food to feed 5,000 people, he told his disciples, "Gather the pieces that are left over. Let nothing be wasted." Think about that. The Son of God, with unlimited power to create anything from nothing, still refused to let leftovers hit the ground. If Jesus won't tolerate waste, what makes us think we can? Proverbs 21:20 says, "There is precious treasure and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man swallows it up." And Haggai 1:6 describes something even more terrifying, a divine curse, where God says you earn wages only to put them in a purse with holes. Some of you aren't under financial attack from the enemy. You're under correction from God because you waste what he already gave you.